Hello, everybody. We got connected. Great. Let me get this ready for you. I'm so excited for today. Awesome. So welcome. I hope you guys are joining live today. This is going to be an important day because this is the day that we are going to do live coaching. I'm going to answer all of your questions after the 4 days. So if this is your first time joining in, welcome. My name is Angela Kelly Robeck, certified life coach for school leaders. I help you navigate the demands of your job, not just the skill set, but the mental and emotional well-being. You guys, this is such a hard job. We need you. We need you feeling good. We need you feeling okay. So this is the last and final day of the 4-day training. Every day this week, I have discussed 3 steps towards building and getting into your empowerment as a leader. This is definitely designed for newer school leaders, but this really can apply to anybody. It can apply to aspiring school leaders or veteran school leaders who still feel like they aren't quite living into the leadership values that they want to live in, and they want to create a legacy. They want to have lasting impact and influence. They want to be highly time effective. They want more work-life balance. If this is you, if there's any area of your work life that you are struggling with, perhaps it's relationships, or maybe it's just that overload of all of the things going on, or maybe you're just feeling really uncertain this year about the school year, this process will help you get some clarity, gain a little more confidence, align your values, and be able to create balance in your life. That's what this is about. And I'm here to help as many school leaders feel better as possible. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I just want to check and see if you have questions, throw them in the chat. I'm gonna pull up the chat right now to make sure that I can check in on y'all. Okay, here we go. So let's pull this all together. Are you ready? I'm ready. So today I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm putting it on my chart stand, just like a good old-fashioned teacher. So the 3 steps in summary are align, decide, and honor. And each day I talked about each one of these steps, and I broke it down into what it is, why it's important, and how to get started. So one of the things we talked about was alignment. Most school leaders are really excited. They're anticipating being in the position. They want to, get in there. They've got ideas. They're super enthused and eager and excited. And you work hard, you get your credential, you go through the interview process, and you land the job, and you're so excited. You can't believe it. You're so proud of yourself, right? You have all these amazing feelings and these amazing thoughts about all you're going to accomplish. There's a lot of anticipation. And then you get into the role. You actually start going to work as a principal. And suddenly the reality of your job doesn't align with the expectations that you had. And you start to feel some disillusionment and disbelief, and what's happening, and what have I gotten myself into, and oh my gosh, right? That dissonance, that difference between the reality and the expectation causes a lot of pain for new leaders. This year in particular with COVID, everyone has experienced that. The expectations we had at the beginning of the school year in 1920, in the 1920 school year, by the time we got to spring of 20, our expectations of how the end of the year was going to go is not how the end of the year went, right? We went from thinking and believing that we had certainty and that we knew what to expect, and that we were going to finish out the trimester and finish out school and being able to say goodbye to our kids and having our end of year celebrations and having graduations and proms and all of those things, baccalaureate night, all of the fun things that go with being a teacher and being a school leader and being a parent. it was heartbreaking, and for the students. So we went through a lot of emotional suffering because our expectations and the reality of our lives changed very drastically, very intensely. So, and it's been prolonged. It's still going on. We're still in the middle of this pandemic. I anticipate we're going to go through more waves of continued distance learning in some way, shape, or form. We still don't have a solution. We still are living in uncertainty. This is for the long haul. So we have to decide how we're going to show up as leaders and how we're going to figure this all out. Okay. So this is a process that can help you with that. When you align to your values, it helps you gain some clarity. So what happens to us is we get in this overwhelm cycle. We have so many things to do, and a lot of those things that we had to do are things we didn't anticipate having to do. And our brain's saying things like, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for. This is not why I want to be a school leader or a teacher. This isn't, I don't want this, right? I don't like this. What's happening? But you feel an obligation and a responsibility to your students, to your staff, and you dig in and do the work, right? Because you value being responsible, being a leader, taking care of business, taking care of your staff, and doing what's best for kids. So those values, the belief systems you have about who you are as a principal, who you want to be as a principal, what you value about education, about students, and what kind of leader you want to be for them, for your students and your staff and your families. You have a list a million miles long, and you want to do it all because you believe that you should, right? So there's this value system that's driving your decisions and your actions. So that creates overwhelm. Your brain is thinking, I have to do it all. You get into overwhelm, and so you decide to overwork. Your response to that feeling of overwhelm is overworking. When you overwork, eventually you hit the wall. You get exhausted. Exhaustion hits in, fatigue, you just can't keep up the pace anymore. You can't keep up the number of hours or the pace that you're working with during those hours. You get back into overwhelm. This is just too much. I'm too tired. Your brain kind of shuts down. You fatigue mentally, emotionally, physically, and you get into overwhelm. And what we do subconsciously is our body, in an effort to try and slow us down, it underworks. And even if you're still working the same hours, you're getting less and less productive because you're pushing yourself so hard. So those long hours you're working are actually getting less and less productive. And you underwork, which builds up all the things. And then you've got a bigger to-do list. So there's this cycle. You're in a spin cycle right now. It's like you're in the dryer and you can't get out. So when we are reacting to our life and to our job, and we're just in there fighting fires and reacting to whatever's coming up for that day, we create a lot of overwhelm for ourselves. We also create a lot of overwhelm when we're in real resistance of the reality of what's happening, when we don't want the reality to be the reality. So our thoughts about the overwhelm, our thoughts about this cycle, our thoughts about the tasks that we have to do, our thoughts about the people that we're working with, our thoughts about the situation that we're in, all of those thoughts are generating a lot of energy, emotional energy. And that energetic state that you're in is what impacts the way you approach your job. So it looks like this. Our thoughts about all of this are impacted by our belief systems. So you have beliefs about how you should be, who you should be, what other people should be doing. We have lots of belief systems about what we should be, what other people should be, what the situation should be. And those belief systems are what creates our values. They're impacted, our thoughts are impacted by our belief systems. Our belief systems create our values, and then those values impact our energetic state, which is how the actions that we take. The approach is just a set of actions that you take every single day. It's how you show up to work every day. So basically, the easiest way to say this is your feelings are going to impact, like your mood, your feelings, your emotional state is going to impact how you show up at work. the decisions that you make, the actions that you take, the way you interact with people, the way you interact with your work, the tasks, the projects you have to do. Okay, that makes sense, right? Your mood, you can definitely have felt the experience of your mood determining kind of how you show up at work, right? Okay, so we can agree on that. What happens is we get out of alignment with our values and what our purpose and our belief systems. And when that happens, we get into cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is basically just when you have two opposing belief systems or two opposing thoughts in your mind. And in I think it was day one, we talked about having the belief system that I need to be available for my staff. I want to have an open door policy because I believe in being really available and accessible to my staff. But I also have this belief system that I want to get my work done during work hours. I want to go home and not be at work all day long, right? So I'm frustrated because I have an open door policy and I'm constantly getting interrupted and I'm not getting my work done. Therefore, I'm having to take it home or work on nights and weekends, and I'm getting exhausted. Like you're in the spin cycle, that overwhelm cycle, right? So when you have two opposing thoughts that are working against each other, it's normal for our brain to do this, right? So here's what's happening is the thought that you want to get everything done at work is it benefits you because you feel like you're giving value, you're contributing, you're being the leader you want to be. That feels good, right? On the flip side, also valuing being home with your family and being present and not overworking to the point that you're not getting to spend time with your kids or your family or your partner or your spouse or your friends or yourself even. When you have those two opposing belief systems, we get into this cognitive dissonance, this discord, internal discord. That's very normal for the brain. It does it because its job is to comfort you. So it's always trying to seek out pleasure, avoid pain, make things as easy as possible. And while it's doing that, it's solving one problem, creating another problem, then it bounces over and tries to solve that problem and then creates another problem. So you can see how you feel internally conflicted, right? And here's what I want to offer. All of us go through this. That's just how the human brain works. But what we do, the way we respond to it is that we think that action is the solution. We think that doing more or working longer hours or hiring more people to do more of the work. So we go out externally and we think that more is the solution. And we also think we're too busy. We think we're just too busy to slow down. Slowing down should not be the answer. But what happens, right, and you have experienced this, is that the gap widens. So from where you are to where you want to be, this gap gets wider and wider and wider because you're putting more in between versus less. So we focus on the problems instead of what we can do in the solutions, right? What's out of our control versus what is in our control. What we do know, what we can create, what solutions we can come up with versus focusing on all the things that are the problem, that are the reason, that are kind of like we blame and complain, right? And the solution, and I'm just giving it to you straight away here, is that it's not more. And your brain's going to resist that solution because we've been taught in our society, in our culture, that more is better. More money's better, more time is better, more things are better, more resources are better, all of the things. More work is better, and that we are better humans, better people, better employees. We're more valuable the more we give. So we think we're all caught up in more, giving more, being more, doing more. So why is the solution not more? Why do you think that is? Put it in the chat. Why do you think that the solution is not more? At least not more of the things I mentioned. It's because the more mentality creates the overwhelm cycle. And we know that's not working for you, right? So what is the solution? Are we supposed to just give up and do nothing? No. Instead of thinking about more, doing more in our actions, what if we thought about what we're thinking about, and our belief systems and our values, going back to our thoughts and how they're impacting the way we feel and the way we show up every day. When your brain is thinking about all the things that are hard and all the things you have to do and why you don't have enough resources and support and how the people at district office aren't supporting you, and you're spending your energetic time on those things, of course you're going to show up to work grumpy. Of course you're going to be, your brain's going to be just tired of thinking about that every single day. I know I did that for years and years. Instead of focusing on what I can do, what I can control, like what I want to be thinking about myself and believing about myself and my staff and my students and my community. Why is this important? When you dig down and spend time on your belief systems and your values and making decisions and priorities, which is step 2, right? Is you understand why you feel the way you do. You're going to see all the things you're thinking about that are generating those feelings of overwhelm and exhaustion and frustration and burnout. And then once you understand that, you can start to just observe yourself and be curious what's going on. Observe that current situation. What am I doing? What am I not doing? What do I want to be doing and why? What do I think is valuable and why? What do I believe is the best solution and why? You start to create intentional outcomes for yourself. So, what you're doing is instead of focusing on all the negatives, you're going to start looking at, you're not just doing positive thinking, you're actually intentionally creating solutions for yourself, because you're going to slow yourself down and say, what do I value? If I were to stop this video right now and ask you to write down your leadership values and your belief systems, would you be able to do that? Have you thought about your leadership values yet? Or did you just dive in and then a bunch of things went on your plate and you've been running ever since? You've been on the hamster wheel. Most likely, if you're like most humans, we jump in, we dive in, we're excited, and then we keep running and we realize this is a marathon and we're running out of steam and we haven't had training, or we haven't had the endurance training, not just for like the physical grind of the job, but that mental and emotional grind of the job. It's a huge up level when you go from being an experienced veteran, beloved teacher or instructional coach or whatever position you had that you were really, really good at, and got tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, you'd be a great administrator. And you're like, sure, I'm in. I would love it. You go and get the credential and it sounds really good in theory. And then you jump in, you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? What is this job? This is crazy. Ultimate middle manager, right? So you have to understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling, because your emotions drive every decision you make and every action you take. And observing yourself, how you're currently showing up. And if you like that, if you like it, great. If not, we want to dig into how you want to. So there's a gap from who you are and who you want to be, and we want to close that gap. And we do this by studying what we value, what we want, what we desire, and how to align ourselves more to that outcome. You cannot achieve new goals if you don't know what thoughts create them. I love this quote. I actually am the one who wrote that quote. But I was thinking about how people achieve new goals or new outcomes for themselves. And in this case, your goal or outcome might be work-life balance. It might be working less. It might be, I just want to enjoy my job a little bit more. I just want to work, even if I could work 1 hour less a day, that would be amazing. Or if I could get 1 extra hour of sleep per night and not be so worried about work, that would be awesome. Most people aren't looking to, go in and change the world of education. They're just looking to enjoy their job, feel effective, be confident doing it, make an impact, have students who are happy and healthy, teachers who are happy and healthy, collaborative environments, welcoming, inclusive, equitable environments. Those are big things. But at the end of the day, if you could take one goal and make it your priority, and then align your values to that, and then decide what actions you're going to take every single day to inch yourself toward that goal, that's much more effective leadership than trying to do it all and thinking that everything is important and everything is of equal value and that you have to tackle it all at once. That is how you burn out. That is how you feel overwhelmed chronically. And that's how you learn to kind of resent the job and feel, kind of grouchy about it. So what I was thinking about is, wait a minute, if you want to achieve a goal, you cannot achieve that goal until you understand how you have to think about the goal in order to get there. So I like to do it this way. If there's a goal I'm looking for, I'm thinking about who has that, who's achieved that already, and what are they thinking? What is that person who already has what I want to achieve? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they doing on a regular basis that's getting them there, that makes them who they are? I want you to think about that as a leader. Think of a leader you admire and respect, who's an idol to you or a mentor for you. What do they have? What do they think and feel on a regular basis? Think about that, okay? So now I'm going to show you an example of how it all pulls together in real time. Hope you can see that there. Okay, I'm going to see if I can put the camera down just ever so slightly. Okay. Can you see? I hope so. Okay. Let me just check. I'm going to check the chats again. Okay, we're good. We're good to go so far. All right. Here's an example in real time. Usually I ask people to think about what they're feeling because that's the indicator, right? That's the body's way of telling you, hey, hello, take notice, something's going on here. So when you're having a negative emotion or a negative feeling, I want you to notice that. Notice how you're feeling. So tap in. How am I feeling right now? And really drop into your body and feel that. A lot of us right now are feeling some uncertainty or doubt. If you're a new school leader, you have a lot of self-doubt because you've never done this job before. So of course you have self-doubt. But all of us are feeling this sense of uncertainty with COVID, with the pandemic, with how long we're going to have to be separate from our friends and family, with, how long are we not going to be able to see our kids, right, at school? Lots of uncertainty and doubt. What are we thinking about? What's making this feel uncertain? I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure when we can go back. I don't like this, right? We have all these thoughts about our situation. We're feeling lots of uncertainty and doubt. What's the value going on here? I don't know what to do. Like when you don't know how to do something and you desperately just want to have that certainty, like I know what I'm doing, I know what to decide, I know how to do this, I know what actions to take, I know how to handle this parent, or I know what to say to that teacher. When you want that certainty and you don't have it, you're looking for stability. You're looking for groundedness. It feels really stable to know what you're doing, right? So the value is stability. And the belief behind this is I should know what to do, right? I believe that I should know what to do. I believe that good leaders know what they're doing. That's a belief that I have. And my value is stability. So you can see how that builds upon that, how this creates the thought of, I don't know what I'm doing. The reality, my reality and what I believe are not in alignment. I should know what to do is my belief. I really feel like I should know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. There's that cognitive dissonance. There is a difference between what you believe should be happening and what the reality is happening, okay? So when you're stuck in this cycle of I should know what to do, but I don't, how do you show up? What actions do you take? How do you approach your days, right? And you're feeling uncertainty and doubt. You're in that energetic state of, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't know this technology. I don't know how to teach online. I don't know how to help my teachers because I barely know the technology. I don't know how to reduce my hours because there's so many meetings and I'm online I'm working harder than ever before. Like, I don't know what to do. You start to question yourself. You're going to ask other people for their input and advice. You kind of avoid making decisions if you don't have to make them, right? You do a lot of shifting and changing and reprioritizing, like redeciding, changing your mind, this uncertainty and doubt, it's got you moving about. It's actually got you doing a lot more because you're questioning yourself. So you're trying one thing and then you're trying another, then you're spending time going and asking other people what they think and what you should be doing, right? You're spinning. Your actions aren't productive, and the outcome becomes this lack of clarity and a lack of leadership because you're confused, you're spinning, you're overwhelmed, and your actions will show that by the things that you choose to do when you keep telling yourself, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay? So when we notice this about ourselves, we have to ask ourselves, well, what is it that we want? If we don't want this, if this doesn't feel good and we don't like it, and the reality isn't meeting the expectation, what do we want? Now, the caveat is this. When you say to yourself, I want things to go back to normal. I don't want there to be a pandemic. I don't want to homeschool. I don't want to have COVID. Like, when we say these are the things we want, you can want those things and they're out of your control. So you can spend your time and energy wanting and desiring things that are out of your control, or you can say to yourself, what do I desire about me? What do I want to think and feel? How do I want to show up? What can I control? I can control the way I think. I can control the way I feel. I can control the actions that I take. I can control the outcomes that I make based on all of this, which is why it's so important to focus on your values and beliefs and getting aligned to those. Here's the truth. Your values and beliefs, they're driving the show anyway. They're driving your actions, whether you're acknowledging them or not. So I invite you to slow down and take some time and put it on your calendar to ask yourself these questions. What do I value? What do I believe? What do I want to value and believe? Right? Because they're driving it anyway. So your desire really is to be more decisive, to feel alignment, to have clarity, to feel calm, to feel centered, to feel certainty, right? It's the opposite of what you're feeling. You kind of want that opposite feeling. You want to feel balanced. You want to feel rested. You want to feel like your bucket's getting filled outside of work so that you can come in ready to go, ready to tackle all these challenges that we're facing in education right now. So if you had this desire met, if you were all of these things, what would you be thinking? Like, if I felt decisive and clear and aligned, what are my thoughts on a regular basis? It's like, well, I'm probably thinking that I've got a plan. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to do it all. It kind of ends up being the opposite, right? Of all the things we're thinking up here. And the feeling I would feel if I had this desired result, I'd feel so confident in myself. I would feel like I've got a plan. I wake up, I know what I'm doing today, tomorrow, the whole week. I've got my plan. I took the time to plan it out, to put it on my calendar, and to make sure that my values, the things I value about being a leader, are on that list. And they're kind of the big rocks. They go in first, and then the other stuff can fill in the blanks. But my values are on there. That is what makes you feel grounded and satisfied, knowing the things you believe about your job are on the list and they're important and they're the priority. So you feel confident when you wake up in the morning knowing you've got a plan. And when things come up during the week, you can, at the end of the day, process what happened. You can add and change some things on your calendar. That's fine. But when you do that, you do it from a place of, why am I doing this? I'm valuing, like, let's say angry parent comes in, they want to schedule a meeting right away. And you're like, okay, I value and respect having harmonious relationships with my community. I'm going to see where I can add that in because I value it. And it feels better than, oh, this person's totally interrupting me, taking my time. I don't want to have to meet with them. Okay. So you can put that on your calendar because you're choosing to, because you value de-escalating, hearing them out, hearing their concern, knowing that they're just coming from a place of, frustration. It's not about you, it's about their situation, and you want to help them solve it. And it can calm you down, put it on the calendar, and then you approach that not with resentment, but with integrity, knowing I value helping this person out. And when you feel that, your value that's driving that is clarity, alignment, right? And the belief system behind that is I create my vision. I control my vision. I'm in charge of my values. I'm in control of my calendar. I'm in control of my time. The actions that you take when you fully believe that you do have some control over your schedule, over your time, and over the way that you're feeling, you start to align your values. Basically, you do the process. You align your values, you decide and prioritize, and you honor. That's the repeat, rinse and repeat, right? Align, decide, honor. And the outcome of that is that you follow your plan, you lead your school, and ultimately you build impact, influence, and legacy, which is the leadership triad. That is how it looks in real time. And you do this over and over again as things come up, as situations rise up. You're like, okay, what do I think and feel about this? What are my values in this situation? What are my beliefs about this situation? How do I want to show up in this situation? And you do this over and over again. And that's it. So, okay, half an hour. The rest is up for questions. I'm going to check the chat. Not seeing anything in the chat. Okay. So feel free to post your questions. And if you're on the replay of this, you can definitely reach out and send me questions. The fastest way to get to me is to join the Empowered Principal Facebook group. You can just join right on in and ask your questions there. I will be sure to answer them as soon as I can. And that's a fast way to get to me. If you have something personal or private you want to talk about, go to my website and just schedule work with me, schedule a consult call. It's free. It's a free hour with me, and we'll walk through your problem together. If you want something personalized and private, you can do it that way. But if you just have a quick question, or you want to ask a clarifying question about the process, jump into the Facebook group, okay? So for those of you who are interested in this, if this resonates with you, if this sings to your soul, if you want to learn and figure out how to do this with more depth and more integrity, and actually, quite honestly, you want to transform much more quickly, you want to expedite this process, I'm going to offer my year-long Empowered Principal program. The Empowered Principal program is a coaching program. It's a personalized professional development program where you, as the client, receive very personalized weekly coaching calls where we go through this process step by step together. It's 1 year of weekly coaching calls where we dive deeper into each of these concepts, and we get into building up your vision and your values as a school leader. We gain a lot of clarity around that. We will make empowered decisions. I'm going to teach you the empowered decision-making process. We will increase your effectiveness, your time effectiveness, your effectiveness to create legacy and impact and influence. We'll cover all of those things. So this process I've given you, there's 3 components to it. It's very simple and easy and doable, but it also has layers to it. And there's times where your brain is going to get a little stuck and confused. We all have blind spots, right? It's like, when you're driving on the freeway and someone's in your blind spot, you can't see. There's a thought back here you can't see, and it's blocking you, preventing you. It's an obstacle. And you don't want to switch lanes, right, and hit that car, but you can't know it's there. What a coach does for you is help you with those blind spots. So we dive in deeper. We increase your effectiveness by getting the roadblocks out of the way, getting the objections in your brain out of the way, getting those obstacles out of the way, and clearing the path for you. So we create a clear path. We make decisive decisions. We get priorities straight. We put them on the calendar. We're going to honor them. And then when it gets hard, and I talk about this in day 3, how honoring the calendar sounds very simple, yet it's the hardest part. And the reason it's the hardest part is because we have to process the emotions. that come with letting go of some of those non-priorities, that involve when we have to say no to things, or when we have to say yes to things that we don't feel like doing, but they really do serve us in the end. So there's a lot of emotion that comes up when we have to honor our values and our beliefs and our vision. It seems like it would be easy to do, but there are tricky thoughts that come up that create a lot of resistance and avoidance and procrastination when you are doing this process. So for people who want to have somebody to help them through that and better understand how you implement this process, the Empowered Principal program is for you. What are the benefits of the program? The benefits are, this one I think is one of the best ones. You don't have to lead in isolation. I felt like school leadership was the ultimate in isolation. People at the district office had each other. They had, my executive team, they had their own little group to collaborate with and to work through and to talk through. The principals definitely had a group, but we were busy leading our schools. We weren't physically together, and we didn't feel like we had the time to truly collaborate. It wasn't on the priority list, right? So having a coach, a one-to-one coach to help you figure all of this out, helps you not lead in isolation. So when you have questions, when somebody comes at you sideways, when you don't know what to do, when you're scared, when you're confused, when you're furious, when you're, like frustrated with something, you don't have to lead your school all by yourself. You've got somebody in your corner. I'm your advocate. I like to tell people I'm your advocate for your dreams, your biggest goals, your biggest outcomes, the lifestyle that you desire and the career that you desire. I'm the advocate for your dreams and goals, and I will help you stay on track. It's just like a fitness trainer, right? But I'm your mental and emotional well-being trainer. I'm going to teach you how to take good care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm going to help you with the skill sets of building up your leadership capacity while we're also managing and navigating that emotional and mental piece as well, the balance that you need and you strive for. So we're going to value balance and self-care. This isn't going to be just all about working yourself to the bone to get to the top quickly. We're not in a rush. We're not in a hurry. There's no sense of urgency in the sense that we don't have to get to your goal tomorrow. We're going to create the foundation from the bottom up, and you'll be able to take this skill set with you for years to come. The benefits of having a coach on your career is exponential, because once you understand how to align your values, prioritize and decide on them, and then create your own results, there's nothing that can stop you from reaching any goal that you desire. This program is very personalized, so we're very specific. The call is private, it's just for you, and you will get to talk about anything that's coming up for you. I don't filter what you can say or not say, and it's confidential. I don't speak to your boss. I'm not hired through your school. This is you and me, you deciding to go all in and invest in yourself, believing in yourself and building up your capacity to lead. You gain so much clarity and confidence because every time something comes up, we talk through it. We talked about what worked, what didn't, what we'll do differently next time, and then you build that capacity and you add it in your tool belt. And finally, you do get expedited transformation. Figuring this out on your own can take years, and some people actually never slow down to take the time and figure it out. But you, my friends, will be able to have this all figured out. Okay? One last thing. For those of you who are curious about what you get, it's weekly coaching calls, tailored notes covering your sessions, because that way your brain can focus on the coaching. I take notes while we're coaching with you. You're going to get tools and exercises and mini lessons that are customized and personalized to your situation that's going on for you right now. You're going to get training videos and theme workbooks. You'll have access to all of that. But here's the best part about this program. There's two big obstacles in people's minds. Do I have the energy and do I have the time? Do I have the bandwidth to do this? It's only 45 minutes a week. That's the only requirement for you, nothing else. I will give you tons of additional resources and information that you can dive in deeper on your own time, however deep you want to go. And I will be there to coach you and guide you through it. But the only requirement of time is 45 minutes. That's it. If you can value your well being and your mental and emotional resiliency and stamina, if you want to build that up and you want your well being to be a priority and your balance in your life and your leadership skills, if you want that full enchilada package, 45 minutes is not a lot to ask of yourself to give to the greater growth of yourself as a leader, your lifestyle, and your school community. So I hope to see you in the Empowered Principal program. Please sign up at angelakellycoaching.com. You /work with me. That's where you will go to sign up. You'll get a free consult. Like I discussed earlier, we jump on the phone, we talk through your situation. I make sure that I'm the right coach for you and that you're the right client for me. And if we're a match to work together, we get started immediately. Don't delay this gift of time, effectiveness, confidence, efficiency, clarity for yourself. It's the best gift you could ever give yourself as a leader. I hope this training has been amazing. I am so proud of it. I am really excited to share it with you. And I ask that if you have received value out of this training, that you please share it with your colleagues and your friends who are in the industry who might also need this level of support. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you all real soon. See you in the Facebook group. Talk to you later. Bye.